Bitcoin is sitting at $121,000 right now. Many people, maybe you might be like, man, are we getting close to the top? I have very good news for you in relation to the answer to that question. Altcoins, they're making a run for it. And I don't think the move has even started. And underneath the surface of all of this that's occurring right now is this. This was a month ago. This was on the Federal Reserve website. Implementation of ISO 20022 message format on July 14th for the FedWire fund service. Confirmed. July 14th. Do you realize that's today right now? And you might be like, what does that mean? I'm going to show you exactly what that means and why it is such a massive deal. So please hit the subscribe. Hit the like on the way in. If you're not in our intelligence system, get our risk models. You're going to want to have our risk models in this bull cycle. Start planning your exits in our exit planners with our risk models. Being alerted when things are getting crazy and overheated. So let's start here. This was on the Federal Reserve Services website, and now it is July 14th as you're watching this. I want to discuss what this means for specific coins, including Cardano, including XRP. But let's not forget as we go into this new week, and then we're going to really get into the charts. Welcome to Crypto Week. House votes expected on Genius Act, stablecoin legislation. If passed, it goes to Trump. Clarity Act, crypto market structure bill, would then go back to Senate. Anti-CBDC Surveillance Act or State Act bans Fed from issuing CBDC, would go to Senate. So that is happening this week. We also have CPI data, I think, coming out this week. But it really is this as well. What is this? I just did a post on this. So I'm going to read through this briefly, and then I want to talk about the coins that are kind of mentioned here. I want to look at ADA charts, XRP. We can take a glance at ALGo, and I want to look at SUI as well. It's not on here, but I want to look at SUI. FedWire ISO 222, I don't even know how to say that, goes live tomorrow, and this is a very big deal for XRP, Stellar, Algorand, Quant, and yes, Cardano. FedWire is shifting to ISO 222 global financial messaging standard that flows data seamlessly across banks, institutions, and blockchains. Only a handful of projects are ISO 2022 compliant, and Cardano is one of them. This means it's positioned to plug into this new era of financial interoperability. Cardano is the most decentralized and secure chain in the industry, built for secure interoperability. What do you think happens next? ADA is ready. So here it is, FedWire Fund Service Implementation Center, and July 14th, there it is. And guess what? As you're watching this video, I mean, like right now it's 12:41 a.m. my time, but it's July 14th. This is so big, and it just occurred to me because you go look at ADA has been moving very nicely. But you also go look at things like HBAR moving very nicely. I didn't put it in that list, but I don't know if it's fully confirmed or if it's speculation, but HBAR is in the mix here with this narrative. And then I realized these coins are pumping. I even took a glance. You go look at ALGo is up 14% right now, and it is pumping. So these coins, there's something there. There's something there. I'm not saying that this is it. July 14th, this begins the massive altcoin bull run. It would actually not even be a surprise to me if this week, Crypto Week of all times, we get some rejection and we start like dipping. It wouldn't even be a surprise to me. But I hope that most of you are really focused on the bigger picture of what's happening right now. This is insane. So we're going to dive into kind of the charts in regards to Bitcoin price action as well as altcoin price action. So let's start with Bitcoin. I think it's an important precursor to altcoins, but we really do want to look at SUI at this point because it's making a move that I was discussing like 12 hours ago, and then I want to look at these other altcoins. But Bitcoin, here's what Bitcoin's looking like. It's at $121,000. I want to mention something to you, and then I really want to answer that question. Well, like, are we at the top? Like, are we getting close to the top? The first thing I want to mention before answering that is when we've been speculating for months and months and months about this inverse head and shoulders, and it happened, and we got the throwback to the neckline, and now we're cruising our way up to potential target. We do need to start focusing on that target because Bitcoin is very close to one of the two targets that I've talked about for quite some time now. it really depends how you're measuring this move, right? From a price perspective or from just like a kind of measured move perspective. But the range is like 130 up to around $300,000. We're getting close to 130. But here's the good news in relation to, well, is that the top? It could be resistance. Let me just say that. But let's answer the question. Is this like the top, right? We look at previous bull market tops. Is that where we're getting? Check this out. Here's one of our risk models for Bitcoin. This is where our risk models become so powerful. And I know I am so looking forward to using these risk models from a very actionable standpoint when things get crazy. And I know our members are as well. But look at the Bitcoin risk score. First, look what it's done in the previous two swing highs. 65 consolidates to the 40s. Here's another swing high around 64, consolidates. And where are we right now? We're at 61. Look at last bull cycle where it topped out at 94. And then we consolidated and we topped out again, like 72. Go back 2 cycles ago. Where did it top out at? 95, 100. Go back 3 cycles. Here we go in the 2013 bull cycle, 100. We're at 61 right now. From just strictly this risk model, and this is considering a lot of different data, everybody. We have our risk algorithm back here, emerging asset theory, game theory, price, the volatility, the volume. There's a lot of moving data points that are playing into these risk scores. But you look at Bitcoin right now, it really is consolidating in a way in which it never has. And if you really want to talk about risk score and risk level, Bitcoin has a ways to go. If you just, and there's no guarantees. These risk models, these are not a guarantee of anything. But from my standpoint, it is an amazing insight. So we're nowhere near previous cycle highs, that bull market high area. We're really not. If we go back and we look at previous cycles, that 60 area is like the precursor to the move, like each time, if you go look at each last bull cycle. So that's kind of where Bitcoin is right now. But then you start looking at risk models for something like Cardano. It's sitting at a 42. We're nowhere near the bull move. So when we start dissecting these altcoin charts, just keep that in mind. So there's plenty of time to sit here and strategize and plan. You want to go into your exit planner, you want to pull up like Cardano, for instance, or another altcoin or Bitcoin, and you want to find your areas from a risk perspective. When Cardano starts getting to these areas, myself, our members, we're going to have our alerts going off because you set alerts, and we will be alerted. But I just know even right now, there's still some time here because we start looking at altcoin charts. Believe it or not, I know it's exciting what's happening right now. We have some green candles. We're still in a lower high territory. So I said it would be funny this week if, of all weeks, crypto week, we get rejection, we start falling. The market makers, I could just see them just having a field day with that. I could just see them doing that. Getting it all hyped up Sunday night into Monday. It's crypto week and then boom, crashing it. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but don't be surprised if it did. This is crypto. But what's happening on the broader picture, the bigger picture, is so massive for value investors that want to be exposed to the crypto space. And we're seeing it play out in real time. So here's Sui. I did a video earlier today. Just look at this. Very quick clip. Store, right? So what does that look like? That's something I'll be watching for Sui. But anyway, Sui up to around 390. Let's just call it 4. 394 is the upper end of that range. And when I did the video, it was like 349. Right now, it's 386. We are just getting to that $3.90 to $4 area. So we are at the very brink for Sui of testing a breakout move. This is big for me because in that video earlier, I was basically discussing I'm eyeing up Sui to be a potential leading indicator for altcoins to be flipping into a real reversal, into potentially altcoin bull market. So for me, what that looks like is this Sui breakout, not just to this area, but now beyond it. So a really important question that I have, here's the weekly candle so far, is, and I'm sorry, this is the daily candle so far. If I change this to a weekly, let me change this to a weekly. Here's the weekly candle so far. My question is, what happens with this weekly candle? Is there going to be rejection? Is it going to be a couple days of upside and we're breaking out and then a big wick of rejection? Or are we going to start getting a weekly close above this entire territory? That is the Fibonacci. That is the lower high trend line that you see there. That's what I'm watching on SUI right now. Nothing else really matters from a price perspective. I will mention this 20-week moving average has completely consolidated right back into the 50. And this is just the compression for the move, the big move. Here are these two moving averages back here compressed together. What happened next? Boom. That's what happens on these charts. So the move is ready and primed. I don't know if it's going to be this week. Maybe we get rejection and then it's in 2 weeks or a month. I don't know, but I'm waiting to see what SUI does at this level. Go over to an ADA chart. ADA is at an interesting area because if you notice on the SUI chart, it's like, looks closer, right, to the big breakout. If you go to ADA and we change this to a weekly, it looks like it's got a little bit more work to do. And it kind of does, right? But if we're looking at this Fibonacci right here, this is the previous swing high. So let me just show you this swing high here, to swing low. Cardano is very close to its own breakout of these lower highs. So the area for Cardano is around 79 to 80 cents. We are a few pennies away from Cardano putting in an indicator, a bullish confirmation indicator that says, hey, this reversal is now very much in play. And until we get to that moment, I'm not even really thinking of anything. Let's see what I wake up to tomorrow morning in terms of ADA and even SUI. Let's see what happens with SUI at 386. Up to that $4 area. Let's see what Cardano does up to this 379 area. One thing I really want to mention in relation to Cardano, very bullish. We've broken above these moving averages. We need to see that stay and we need the separation to the upside. But really, the key area for me on Cardano is the swing high of this massive move in December to swing low. And it's this Fibonacci. And I mentioned this, I think, in a previous video, 114 to like $1. If Cardano starts breaking that area, then we're talking bull market move. Right now, we're trying to recapture all of this multi-month downside. And that's just the case for every altcoin. There's SUI, there's ADA. Go look at ALGo. ALGo I wanted to take a look at just because it's in that grouping of coins that are, mentioned in this FedWire update that's happening. And so ALGo, and I think I noticed, if we go look at the risk model, just because I'm kind of curious right now as I'm doing this video, ALGo is at a 55 right now. So it's also in a hold territory. But if you look at the chart, right, it is completely reset on this chart. And what's really cool is you look at ALGo, there's not like a ton of data as we have for something like Bitcoin or Cardano. And then we can go look at something like, what is it? On this risk model, SUI, right? So let's check that SUI risk model sitting at a 60. So when you start looking at the groupings of these altcoins that we're talking about in this video, guess what? They're all going to have different risk levels, and they're all going to have a different amount of upside in terms of gains. So these are just some of the things I'm watching in terms of these altcoins. And XRP was the other one that I wanted to look at. So XRP is not only XRP actually might be a really awesome indicator for altcoins that I probably should have brought up sooner, because check out what XRP has done. It is putting in moves. It is broken above this previous swing high. We've not only closed the candle, but right now we're putting in another weekly candle to the upside. So this is actually, I should have brought this up first. I'm not going to redo this video. I should have brought this up first, though, because this is now a higher high from this swing high, and XRP is really getting close to breaking out. If you look at this swing high to swing low, the one that we just looked at for Cardano, XRP is in that Fibonacci range now. Remember, for Cardano, that was up to like $1.14 or something. XRP, that 786 line of this Fibonacci is around $3, $3.02. We're like 9 or 10 cents away from XRP making that move. This is such a good indicator for altcoin markets in general. So I will definitely be keeping an eye on XRP. Now that we brought XRP up, just curious, I wanted to see what XRP score is, sitting at a 59. and massive upside potential. I mean, you go look at last cycle, it was sitting in the 40s and 50s back here before that parabolic move to the upside. And even back here, it's sitting in the 60s, 52, and then boom, that move to the upside. So risk level wise, my point, all of these altcoins are primed. They are in pre-bull market mode. And I'll keep saying that. And I'll probably stop showing the risk models as much when things kind of get a little crazy. Because I'm going to leave that up to our members to kind of enjoy those models. So this is kind of the update as we go into this week. Be careful is one thing that I will say, because at the end of the day, we know the macro fundamentals are so good, even with what's going on with legislation, even what's going on with interest rates getting ready to come down. The economy might really start booming like we've not seen in some time, and the narratives are there. But don't be surprised if there are these kickbacks, these pauses, these resistance areas. So I'm going to watch these things as we go into this week, but it's a big week for sure. And really, on the macro, I'm putting it probably in the thumbnail, it begins, because this is where we are. We are at the start right now. And I said, whatever this pump is, it's nothing. I just posted this earlier. Zero hype. That's how I feel right now. Zero hype. Just OG crypto holders, most of you out there enjoying some green candles. That's what you see here. Crickets. Retail isn't even close to here. Maybe when alts pump 100% to 200%, we might start seeing some hype, but that will be just the beginning. Those are just my thoughts. So I'll leave you with that. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Turn those notifications on. And if you're not in our intelligence system, I would love to have you on as a member. Give us a shot. I'm incredibly excited to build this company and to offer these tools. So hope to see you in there. I will see you in the next video. God bless.